Okay, so before we get started with complex shapes as far as making an actual item, let's go into practical application on small examples first. That's always a good way to go. Okay, I'm going to delete that and I'm going to add a cube. And we're just going to look through several examples here. One, I want the top of this cube to be rounded and I want the bottom to be flat. Okay, let's look at that. Now, the thing about Blender is there is this nice feature. The multi-res feature in Blender is amazing. In fact, it doubles what Maya is because the fact is you can preview it at higher subdivides and you can choose what subdivide to see it at. So in other words, I can hit tab and I get the box. And if I hit tab again, I get the ball. Okay. This back and forth motion allows me to model and get some complex parts and see what they look like high res. Alright, here's for example. I'm in edit mode and what I want to do is Control R. I'm going to loop cut the bottom and hit tab. Now I have a dome surface with a flat bottom. Okay, just by inserting that one edge. Okay, tab again. Let's say I wanted it to be more like, I don't know, like maybe a treasure chest top. Okay, Control R. Control R. Then tab, and now I have this. Okay, let's say I need to make, here's another example. So what I want to do is actually duplicate this piece a little bit. Shift D to duplicate. Just going to move that off to the way. That way I can focus on this part. Let's say I need to make a kind of a hollowed surface. Let's representing it as maybe a shoulder pad for armor or something like that. Okay, and keep in mind, I'm just throwing out examples as far as best I can as that goes. Certainly, you can extrapolate these shapes and turn them into anything you want. Okay, first off, I need to get into this view. Okay. What if I went like this? Box select. I'm going to go into wireframe for a second because it'll allow me to cut all the way through the mesh. I could either do that or use this button right here, which is located in solid. Let me kind of go through this. This is the limit selection to visible. If it's on, I can't see through the mesh. And that means if I box select and hit X and destroy faces, it's only going to destroy one face because that's the only thing visible. Okay, one on the keyboard or one on number pad. If I have that on, it allows me to go like this. Box select. I can box select X faces and it gets the entire shell. I can either do that or go into wireframe. Well, I have this part right here and it has that edge loop going all the way around. It looks like this one, but if you look at it, it's just an overall arc. And if I need to make some kind of thickness to it, highlight one component, hit L, and I can extrude region. Right click, and then let's go into scale. Okay, hitting tab, I have now this overall arc. Notice it is kind of rounded at the outside edge here. Okay, one on the keyboard. And I can take this face and this face and I can scale them negatively. This will straighten them out. And I can hit W to move them down. Again, if I want to highlight the entire part, however, there's a couple different ways to do this. Again, wireframe, one on the keyboard. I always kind of rely on wireframe. It's just so much easier sometimes to grab this part. So I can grab it just like that. Hold Shift. And again, R on the keyboard to flatten that out. And that's what it should look like right there. W to move it down. If I wanted to straighten out the next one, well, that would be the edge. Shift Alt, Shift Alt, R, and I can straighten those out. And move those down. So the closer these two are to each other, the tighter that's going to look when I hit Tab. Okay, let's go back into Solid and look at those. So now it's got less of a tapered edge. Alright, so that's just an example of a complex shape. Let's mix complex shapes now. We'll take something from one actual shape to another and join the two together.